everyone else who is on a little late can just catch the beginning here. But I might look at my phone because this is where my notes are for today's call, because I did want to write down a few things so I can remember everything that's on my heart, on my mind the last few days. Thank you all for being on. I have been feeling like there's just so many amazing coaches on this team that are incredible, incredible leaders. And I have, with that in mind, some exciting announcements coming here in the next few days that you guys can look forward to that involve the entire downline. Doesn't matter if you're 20 levels down from, under so-and-so, whatever. It involves you, so you can kind of be excited about that. But with this, I would love to do masterminds with just you guys, with just the leaders, to strengthen that leadership in each one of us. And in that, I know I get to learn from you guys too. I know that you guys are all, learning different things and doing things differently. And so I want to do calls like this at least a few times every month and have people sign up to share what they're doing. And I wanted to be the first one to do it and to start us off. The only reason I scheduled one Diamond Mastermind for this month is because it's Summit Month, and the 2 Forward Fitness team calls are going to be, next week and then the following week right after, and then we'll be at Summit. So hopefully everybody is tuning into this and feels that this is of value. If you guys aren't liking it and we're having to drag people tooth and nail, then, I'm not going to force people to do it. But I feel that there's a need for it from my standpoint, and I think it's good to connect, and they'll be part of what I share relating to that. But I just wanted to touch on the fact of feeling stuck. And so I kind of mentioned that the other day, like, how many of you guys might feel stuck? How many of you may feel like, okay, I don't feel like my business has grown in the last year. Here I am going to Summit and I'm in the same place, I feel like, income-wise or rank-wise or whatever, than I was last year. Or maybe your income has grown, but you feel like you're stuck. Maybe it's just a mental thing that you feel like, I'm not progressing, I'm not moving where I want to be, or I had all these goals and expectations and I'm not where I want to be. And I think it's really easy, if that happens, for you to move into overanalyzing things and move into a mental state that you don't want to be in. And from there, it just kind of turns into a downward spiral. And basically what it comes down to, when you think about it, is fear, right? Fear is what drives all of that. And I know fear well. I can identify it that way because I have lived in fear for a large majority of my life. And I can even tell you guys there's more and more fears that are constantly being surfaced for me that I am having the opportunity to now face and work through. And this kind of creating a shadow on my face, but I just got out of the shower. So figure the hat helps me out a little bit, maybe not. But anyways, fear, and this is something I was talking about with my life coach the other day. So I have a life coach who went to a Tony Robbins seminar and just felt, this is something that would be beneficial for me. And talking with him, I'm like, I have all these fears. Like, if I'm honest with you guys, like, I didn't realize how many issues I had about money until 6 months ago, when it was more in my face with the announcement of joining the Millionaire Club, or whatever you call it. And I just wasn't really paying attention to that and thinking about it. And then I realized I had all these issues of thinking I'm bad if I'm earning money and things. And then having this dream and goal of moving into a dream house and then doing it and being like, oh my gosh, this fear of, the bottom falling out, and I'm now going to lose my house somehow. Like, so I'm like waiting for someone to knock on the door and kick us out, because I'm like, I can't believe I get to live here. And talking with him, I'm like, I feel this fear of these different things. And he's like, Brigitte, fear kills passion. Fear kills passion. But it's not that the passion was never there. It's that it's all wrapped up in the fear. And so the fear is what you just have to break apart. And he shared a couple things that are powerful for you to break through fear. And you may not have this fear of somebody kicking you out of your house. And it doesn't even make logical sense, right? Because I'm like, we bought the house, like it's our house. But I'm like, it just doesn't feel real. And so I have this illogical fear of, you know, someone, I don't know, kicking us out. But it doesn't even have to be a logical fear, but it could be this fear of rejection. I was talking to a diamond coach in the downline yesterday, and she's like, I'm just still afraid to invite. I'm scared of rejection. I'm fearful of this. Talking to another coach, and she's like, I'm afraid of what other people think of me, you know, and when I'm putting this out there. And I think there can be so many fears about things, but the way that you break through fear, there's a couple things. One of them is curiosity. Curiosity can be the stronger force against fear. So I started reading this book, and I haven't gotten through it all the way yet, but it's called Big Magic. My lighting's like doing a weird thing here. Big Magic, though, I took the cover off, but it's by Elizabeth Gilbert. If you ever read Eat, Pray, Love or saw the movie, it's the same author. But she talks about fear, and she talks about how curiosity is what breaks you through that to drive you past fear to take action, you know, because it's like fear is debilitating. It makes you not want to take action. And I thought of You're a Badass. Like I just re-listened to that book last week. And in there, one of the things that stood out to me so much is how she shares that her curiosity of, I just want to see what I can get away with, drove her to continue moving forward. And so my question to you guys is, like, can you ask yourself, like, okay, is this like real? Do I really get to live in this house? Or is this person going to like reject me? Do I get to, like, if I invite someone, are they going to say no? Or what are people going to think of me if I share that I'm a Beachbody coach? Like, whatever fears that you have, let the curiosity of the polar opposite drive you. So instead of asking, what if I failed? They'd be like, well, what if I actually stuck to this Beachbody business and actually did the 3 vital behaviors and was consistent with it? What would be my result? I'm curious if I could actually do this. I'm curious if I can. And it's not just in the business and the 3 vital behaviors, but what if you actually did the 21-day fix every single day and really counted your containers every single day? You know, what if you did that? What if you did P90X? Are you curious what your results could be? That was when I can identify my drive to get started in my health and fitness journey. It was curiosity. You know, I realized when I saw this quote that said, it's a shame for a woman to grow old without ever seeing the strength and beauty of what her body is capable of. I realized I was very curious. What am I capable of? What is my strength and beauty that I'm capable of? Because maybe I could be the person with a 6-pack. I have never in my life been a person who ate clean and worked out. I have no idea what I'm capable of. And that curiosity to see what I was capable of drove me to start working out and eating clean. And I want you guys to have that same curiosity approaching this business as a leader. I think doing that gut check of, okay, am I really sending out 3 messages to people, 3 new people every day, just engaging in a conversation with them? Am I adding new people every day? Am I sending out those invites? Let's just see what happens if I do. Maybe they will. I'm really curious to see if this person could be the next Lindsay that way. I'm really curious. I'm going to take a chance and see what happens. What if you actually followed up with every single person who has ever told you no? Are you curious what your result could be? Like, let that curiosity drive you. The other thing that she mentioned in this the Big Magic that I just thought was such a fascinating concept is when she shared what continued to help her move past her fear, she said she got bored of the same old thing and just having like every day was the same thing because she was constantly finding an excuse. And I was just having a call this morning with Missy Reaver, and one of the things that we were talking about is how this business has a magical way of bringing up the limiting beliefs that you have so you can deal with it and face it and work through it. And I don't feel that there's anything wrong with this business. I don't think there's anything wrong with the structure, there's nothing wrong with this business. So if you're having trials, if you're struggling in some way, there's not a flaw in the structure. There's not a flaw in the system because it's working for people. There are people who are seeing success right now, who are killing it in, rank advancements, killing it in Success Club points or whatever. There's some sort of limiting belief that you're holding on to that is creating the experience that you're having. But the thing is, that's like a trend in your life. It wouldn't just be a Beachbody. Like it would be the same limiting belief that you're seeing in your marriage, or you're seeing in your relationship with your parents, or your relationship with your boss at work. And so how freaking cool is this that now you have this opportunity to have it brought to your awareness so you can work through it and have your life be that much better. But I think so many people come up against those limiting beliefs and they're like, oh my gosh, I really do care what people think of me. I've been seeking validation from other people, and I do it in my marriage, and I do it with my parents, and now I'm doing it with my upline coach or with Beachbody Corporate, and I'm seeking their approval. And so the problem must be with Beachbody Corporate and with my upline, or the story is that you've had this limiting belief and you get to work through it. But shirking away from Beachbody isn't the solution, because you're still going to be dealing with those issues in your life. And take advantage of this opportunity to work through those things, because you've got to get to a point where you're bored with the story you've been telling yourself, because it's been going on your whole life, but now it gets to be brought to your awareness. Are you guys following what I'm saying with that? Make sure no one's falling asleep on this, because I can yell at you guys if you want me to talk louder. But the other thing with that is the beliefs right there. Like your limiting beliefs, the story that you're telling yourself. Like if you're telling yourself nobody's buying challenge packs because it's summer, everyone's out with vacation, none of my coaches want to build a business, there's nothing I can do. That's a limitation, right? And you're arguing for it. You're arguing for your limitations. And when you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. They're yours. And so if that's the limitations you're thinking of and that you're focusing on, congratulations, you win. You're right. Now what? The other person who's creating the story of, dude, everybody wants to buy challenge packs right now because it's summer and they're wearing less clothing so they can't hide behind the winter like sweaters. Like, of course people are feeling uncomfortable at the pool. This is the perfect time for people to be doing this. And you know what? My coaches are probably not buying into like this business because I haven't shared my vision with them. And so of course they're doing this. So I get to take this proactive step. But if that's your story, that's the truth and that's the reality. So I want you guys to also take a second back and use the skill of self-evaluation and self-doubt in doubting the beliefs that you're circling in your mind right now, or that you've been telling yourself, because of course you found evidence to support the beliefs that you're holding on to. But I want you to question it and be like, maybe that's a story. And if you just like ask that question, what if this wasn't true? What if that limiting belief that I'm holding on to and the limitation that I'm thinking is real isn't actually real? You know, what if that's not the truth? You know, what if there's tons of people wanting to do this and I just haven't asked them? And so they don't know that I am running a challenge group, or they don't know that they're invited. They're waiting for me to do this. You know, they're waiting for me to invite them. So that's like the first part of the call, like just talking about, your limiting beliefs, the hesitations that you have, and letting fear dictate your life versus curiosity, and getting sick of that mundane monotony of letting fear control everything, because that's boredom. You're going to fall into a boredom because it's the same old thing. Shifting gears, I want to also address something that has been really monumental for me. Again, working with my coach, my life coach. And that is the concept of male energy and female energy. And I know that may sound like kind of weird, and people may be like, okay, well, I don't know if we have any feminists on the call or who are like, I can be just as strong as a man or whatever. But the reality is that there's female energies and there's male energies. And the female energy is the very nurturing, I want to just be a partner, I want to be a wife, I want to be a mom, I just want to be home with my kids. That's the very nurturing, I just want to take care of my house and have everything in place. And that's the female energy, okay? Female energy is also very friendship focused a lot of times, connection with people and focused on having fun and having a good time, making sure people are happy. On the flip side, then you have the male energy. And I don't really know how else to say this, because this is the male energy. The male energy is, I'm going to get shit done. So I'm sorry for swearing, but that's what male energy is. Male energy is very driven, no, this is what we've got to get done. Get it done. Very, and the male energy, I'm going to tell all of you guys, you all know how to tap into male energy. And in a way, the business takes this. Running your own business, being an entrepreneur, takes an element of the male energy. It takes an element of, okay, I'm done crying about this. I'm done crying about whatever so-and-so said to me. I'm going to get stuff done. And I'm going to prove them wrong, because there's no way in hell that person knows what I'm capable of. So that's bullshit. I'm going to prove them wrong. That's male energy. I'm sorry for swearing, but that's what guys do, right? The male energy is that drive that you had at some point in this business to get started. Because that female energy of, well, I'm just going to be home. I'm not going to work. I'm just going to be home. That's a good thing. And we need that. But it is a powerful woman who knows how to be feminine and tap into the male energy at the appropriate times. And I'm going to give you all kudos, because this team is full of strong women who know how to do that. And that's what this world needs, is the women who can come in with that feminine touch, but tap into the male energy when things need to get done. When you have to take a stand, and when you have to be bold and say, I refuse for my life to be the way that it is. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to create a different life for my family and for me, because my kids deserve it, my future generations deserve it, and I'm going to set the example. I'm going to prove what's possible when you work hard and when you believe in your dreams. And all of you have been able to tap into that, even if for just a moment, when you signed up as a coach. Now, I'm kind of describing this for you because there's a few key things with this. One, you still have to tap into the female energy to refuel your spirit and your being. You can't live in a male energy and say, I'm going to get stuff done over and over and just drive, rank, income, numbers. You as much as you think that's going to motivate you, it's not really. You're going to, for one moment, be like, I really want to get to diamond. And then you'll be like, okay, you'll step back into your feminine energy and be like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So you're going to, question that, and then you're in conflict in your mind. And so this is where refueling yourself with the female energy allows you the power to step into the male energy. Does that make sense? Are you guys following that? I had this call with Keisha a couple months ago, and I hope it's okay. She's not on this call yet. But then I'm sharing this. But she was kind of struggling. She's like, I keep trying to be motivated in these ways, and I'm not motivated by it. And she's like, I keep trying to be motivated by rank, but I'm not. And she's like, and I feel like I should be doing these things because now I have this team following me, and I'm not motivated by those things. And she was kind of worried that those things were motivating her. And I'm like, Keisha, that's because you're trying to live in this male energy, and that's not who you are. You know how to tap into that, but who you are is a feminine person. You are a feminine energy, and you get to realize that it's those relationships that you love. It's hanging out with your friends. Like, those things fuel you up. Pushing for rank and pushing for income, like, when you're tapping into that male energy in that moment, they may be exciting. And some people can live in the male energy a little longer than others. But like, she has to refuel herself by going out with her friends and hanging out and doing fun things and focusing on the people and like going on random lunch dates and just connecting with people. And that fuels her up. So then she has the drive to step into the male power energy. Does that make sense, guys? Like, people nodding yes, that like, and I just know for her, like, that clicked everything. Because she, like, I didn't know about the female male energy thing prior, but it was something that she had been struggling with for like a good 6 months. And she's like, I just keep trying to find my drive and I don't have it. Like with, you know, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but like, no, not feeling the motivation, not feeling motivated by rank or income or those things. And there's, you know, a reason why, you know, because she's not a man, but she can step into that. So I want you guys to all think about for yourself, what refuels your feminine energy. So it's like, first and foremost, I want you to think of that because it's going to be a little different for everyone. For me, I know it sounds really corny, but I grew up with my mom, like, just very respecting my father, and she always was like, you know, she never let us talk badly to my dad. It was very like, you know, your father, like, she just showed us by example how to respect the man of the household. And I don't know why that makes me feel good, but it does. And so when I feel like my husband feels empowered, that makes me feel really good. And that fuels and refills my feminine energy to think like, I want to empower my husband so he feels like a man. You know what I mean? And I can tell you guys sincerely that when my husband started working for my dad, so he was always an employee, he's self-employed, my husband was. And even when, as soon as he got off his served his mission for the LDS Church and came home and immediately started his own business. And he, for the first time ever, started working as an employee for my dad. And I knew he took that job out of necessity and he hated it. And my husband has always been a very self-confident person, a very, like, he did not struggle with depression. And for the first time ever, I saw him feeling like he was not the same person. He was like depressed. And I could just see him shrinking under that role of an employee. He was not happy. And I can see how that fueled that desire to have my husband be the man, you know, like that female energy fueled me in this business to then make a male energy decision. Does that make sense? You know, but now I can see here that I still very much want to empower my husband. So little things of like just spending time with the family, like all of us, and uplifting my husband in front of my kids and telling him, and I know this, like, it's such little ways where this happens in our family. But I can see it just makes me feel good and it empowers me and it fuels up my feminine energy to uplift my husband, if that makes sense. Another thing is just being with my kids, you know, and being a family. Like, I really like that family unit, and I feel very driven to be a mom and to make my house a house too. Like, that's another thing that fuels my female energy. And so, like, I have to tap into that and know, like, okay, if I'm feeling drained at all, I need to turn off the computer and go be with my kids. You know, I can't just try to be like, okay, Brigitte, go for Elite, go for this, hit Success Club, like, and be driven by male energy, that doesn't work. And so for so many people are like, well, I'm trying to be driven by this. Business must not be for me because I'm not driven by that. I'm just going to tell you guys, it's because you're a female. Like, and I need to do a quick glance at this group. We may have I know we have some male diamond coaches, but I don't know if you're on the call. So I'm going to pretend that everyone's a female. But, I mean, it's vice versa too, right? So I hope that that's making sense. Like, think of for you in your own meditation and in your own, like, thinking of this, like, what fuels my feminine energy? Is it being with friends? Is it being home and making my house a home? And make sure you're doing those things. You have an obligation to fuel yourself and take care of yourself and fuel your passion. And you're not going to feel passionate by setting like, okay, I have to hit this deadline and this deadline and this deadline. That's not how you are wired, okay? So fuel this up with feminine energy, and then you're going to learn how to tap into the male energy with a big key thing. And this is what I was trying to get you guys to think about yesterday, the refusal energy, okay? I am fueled by wanting my family to be a family, and wanting my husband to feel like a man, wanting my kids to feel safe, and for there to be peace in the home. And that fuels me. That makes me emotional, obviously. That was very much what I really, really wanted as a new coach, you know, because I was like, my family is not together. Like, we don't even have family dinner together because my husband's working 2 jobs, you know? And that fueled me. And then I tapped into refusal energy. I said, enough is enough. I'm not going to let my family be broken anymore. I refuse to let my kids grow up without their dad. I refuse for Jason to experience his children's childhood through text messages and photos because he's not here. I refuse to have life be this way anymore. And because I had that refusal energy, I didn't care what anyone thought of me. I didn't care when my own mother had negative things to say about me posting on Facebook. I didn't care because I refused to have the experience that I was having. And you guys have to find what you refuse to experience. Because right now, there's too much fear of rejection or fear of this. You know, are you scared of that you can say, I refuse to let that happen. I refuse to be a victim. I refuse to live beneath myself. Like, for me, that's totally shifted now, right? At the beginning, it was like, I refuse for my family to be broken. My family is not broken anymore. We are together. We are together so much that sometimes I'm like, tell my husband, why don't you just go for a drive and get out of the house because you're here too much? You know, now it's not the same. And I will be honest, like, there's a transition there. Like, where for a while I was like in an identity crisis maybe of like, okay, what fuels me? What is my refusal energy now? And guys, like, so it's not, refusal energy is not, I refuse to not hit this deadline and this goal and this. Your refusal energy has to be based off of a feminine thing. Like, does that make sense? Like, because otherwise when the going gets hard, you're just going to walk, you know, because it's like, well, this deadline and this and that, like, I care about Success Club, but not really. And so that can't be your like refusal. I refuse to not hit diamond, or I refuse to not be elite this year. That's not going to work. That's not going to sustain you. Okay. It has to be something that's a principle. That's a core belief. That's a part of who you are that you refuse to let slide or be altered by life. You're taking a stand for something you deeply believe in. Do you deeply believe in Success Club? I'm sorry. No. Are you going to die if you don't hit Success Club? No. I'm sorry. That's not the most important thing in life. But what can you tap into with your family, with your own personal values? Or do you refuse to let someone else dictate your worth at a job? For someone else to determine You can work today. You can have the day off. Does that just bug you that someone else is determining your worth? Well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to take a stand for it? That's the refusal energy that you tap into that allows you to be driven and to go for it. Does that make sense? So with that, there was something else I was going to say and I went off on a tangent. The refusal energy has shifted for me. And so now the thing that I thought it was this and then it was this, and I just had my own digging deep. And I'll tell you guys, it's taken me a while. There's been a lot of autopilot, just do what you know you're supposed to do and have faith that God will reveal the purpose and the meaning to this with you in time. But right now you're supposed to just stay the course. That's what my answers to prayer were. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to send out my invites and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to trust that God's going to reveal to me what my refusal energy is. And I can tell you guys that that's what I was sharing in that post the other day, that I refuse to live beneath who I know I am. Before I signed up as a coach, if you don't know my story, I was depressed, and I was the mom who would, as much as I love my kids, I wasn't doing anything. I'd sleep on the couch and just let them watch TV, and I wasn't living, wasn't doing anything. And I thank God that I was fearful enough of God that I didn't end my life because I feared him. But I figured I'm enduring to the end, and I'm not. There's this life is just meant to be endured. I didn't think anything more was possible for me. And finally, I had this time where I really needed to know for myself how God viewed me. And I spent a year of repenting and praying and reading my scriptures and just trying so hard to learn about charity. Is what I was studying every single day for a year, for anyone who cares. That's the only thing I would study. And I remember finally being like, I'm ready to just know. I'm ready to just know, how does God really view me? And I sincerely wanted to know for good or worse, because I already viewed myself in such a horrible way that I felt I just need to know, because it can't get any worse than I view myself. So if that's reality, nothing's going to change, but maybe God views me differently. And so, I hope this doesn't make anyone uncomfortable that I'm talking about this, whatever beliefs that you have, that's fine. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm just sharing my story, and maybe it will inspire you to find your, aha moment of, what your refusal energy is. I'm just sharing from my heart and from my own experience. But I prayed and I asked with a sincere heart, how do you see me? And who am I to you? And I saw myself the way God does. And that experience changed everything. That is what gave me the motivation to think, okay, I'm going to step up my health and fitness. I can do this. Maybe I could even run a half marathon. And then I started running, and it just was a progression, and everything changed after that when I knew how God viewed me. And now I refuse to live beneath that, because I know I'm capable of great things. And that's saying a lot from someone who has my background and my history, for me to know that I have a great worth. And if I don't progress in life, if I say this is as good as it gets, I am living beneath myself, and I am dishonoring God. It is that serious to me that it is an emotional, I need to get up and I need to get stuff done, because I am not going to live beneath what God showed me is possible. Because he showed me for a reason, and I'm not going to live beneath that. And that's my emotional refusal energy at this point, because I don't need to make more money. I don't need a higher rank. I don't need this or that. I don't care. And I don't care. It doesn't change who I am. And I'm sincerely saying that. I don't feel like I'm a better person for this. It could all be taken away and I don't feel like a lesser person, but I know that I have to keep moving forward. And I've always known that. And that's why this whole team is called the Forward Fitness, because it was like the action of moving forward that I am so passionate about. That I don't care what rank I hit. I don't care what destination there is. It is the act of progression that I refuse to give up on. And that is my refusal energy. What's yours? What is going to make you cry and feel so emotional about that you're like, yeah, I'm getting out of bed and I'm doing this and I'm inviting people. I don't care what people think. I'm doing this because I refuse fill in the blank. What do you refuse? That's the male energy that you can tap into, fueled by the femininity in all of you. I hope this is like making sense, because I know it's kind of out there. Maybe if I made a slide, it would make some more sense. Couple more thoughts. I know I was going to say this would be 30 minutes. I'm almost done. It's been 40. I have a video I want to share with you guys from another coach that I watched just recently. And I was like, wow, this is like an amazing call. But I just want to share a few thoughts from that. And then if you have a time to watch that video, that's great. She's sharing a few things about good versus great and good to great. And I think you guys have all heard that concept. There's a book called Good to Great. Yeah, maybe if I made a slide. I'm a very visual person, so I'm like, oh, if I can see an image, it sinks in for me. So I just wanted to speak from my heart and not worry about that right now. But anyways, good to great. And the whole point that she was really drilling in, at least of what stood out to me, is if you guys are not being consistent, you're not even getting to the good part of this business. How many people have turned to me and said, I don't know if this is working. I've been working really, really hard, or I grow my business and then all my diamonds quit, and then I kind of get going again, and then everyone kind of falls apart, or okay, so the first question is, how long have you been consistent? 60 days? 90 days? 6 months? Well, guess what? That's not long enough. That's not long enough for you to put that to the test to see what consistency can do for you. For you to be good in this business, you have to be consistent for at least a year. And that means every day, day in, day out, you showed up with enough conviction to say, I am doing this. So this is like a progression thing, right? You already found your fueling up, you're fueling yourself up, taking care of yourself, that female energy. You've identified what your refusal energy is, and now you are consistent for at least a year. There's not this, oh, I'm kind of doing this, but I'm kind of out thing. That doesn't work. You have no idea if this really works for you. So aren't you curious if it does? Because you can't look me in the face and say, I am invited, I've been adding all these people, and I'm doing all these things, and the business just doesn't work for me. It's really? Are you really doing those 3 vital behaviors? Every single day you added someone new, and you talk to new people every day, or did you talk to the same 10 people over and over again? Did you really post every day? Did you share your journey? Did you send out invites, or did you wait for people to come to you because you posted it on Facebook? Put this to the test. Lead with some curiosity. Put me to the test. Brigitte says I just have to do these vital behaviors and the business is going to work for me. I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm going to do this, give this my honest effort for a full year, every single day, and then you come and you look me in the eye and tell me that this business doesn't work for you. I would love to have that conversation, because I have yet to have a single conversation resembling anything like that. Because I can tell you, when you're consistent, you get results. And then you get to have the good part of this business. And many of you guys aren't even to the good part yet. Because you can get to the good part of this business without even with I mean, you can get to diamond without being consistent. We'll just be honest. So some of you guys are still on that journey. Like, I'm going to be consistent for at least a year and get to the good part of this business. Now what? Now, another part of you, another segment of this group, you've been consistent. You've been showing up every single day, not just when it's easy. And you have a good business. You have a good thing. But how do you get to the great? What's missing for you? Like, why are you stuck at good enough? What's the difference? Vision. Vision. Do you have a clear vision of what you want? And have you shared that with your team? Do your coaches know without a shadow of a doubt where you're going to be? Why you care? Why you're building this business? Do you share that often? I can tell you guys, I don't think there's a single one of my personally sponsored coaches who don't know that story of why I started and the vision that I had of, I want my husband home. Like, all my PS coaches are like, sitting back, I've heard this story a million times, because I talked about that vision all the time. Do you talk about it constantly with your team, with your page, sharing, this is my vision. This is what I know I'm capable of. This is what I know this team is capable of. This is my vision for this team. If you don't have that clear vision, you get stuck at good. So you have to know where you want to be. And you have to know it with such conviction and share it enough that people want to get on the train with you. Because otherwise, who wants to get on the train with you? Who wants to get on a train where people are like, I don't know where it's going, and I don't know how committed they are to getting there. What if I get on the train and they're not there in 6 months? Like, do people know how committed you are to your vision? And if they don't, that's your missing piece. Fix it. Find out what your vision is and share it, and you're going to be just fine. The last thing I just want to share, I just want to come back to this, something I've said it a million times before, but you were drawn to this for a reason. Every single one of you guys are here for a purpose higher than you can even comprehend. And it's not always like, oh, I'm here to like go diamond, or I'm here to be an elite, or whatever. This is not it. Like, you are here to help somebody that nobody else can help. You are here to help like yourself in a way that you can't like improve by any other means. Like, and you have the dreams and the passions and the desires that you have for a reason, because that's what you deserve. And I am going to use the word deserve, and it is what you are entitled to, and your spirit knows that. And that's why you were drawn to this, because your spirit's telling you, yes, 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 do that. That's going to be good for you. That's what you're here for. Like, you're here for a reason. So don't go back to the comfortable place that you were in before, of denial and complacency. You left that place for a reason. It's like a dog going back to his throw up. Like, you let go of your past and you let go of the like previous life for a reason, because you knew that this is going to stretch you and push you in the best ways possible. So stay here and keep moving forward. Don't get stuck where you're at. One other quick little thing, and I'll be done with you guys. I want you guys to ask yourselves right now, are you surrounding yourselves with the people who are going to propel you forward? I know a couple people who are sitting around the water cooler, dinking around with other coaches and like wasting time complaining. Like, if your success partners get on and complain, find new success partners. Like, look at the 5 people you are surrounding yourself with the most, and guess what? If they're not hitting Success Club, they're not advancing rank, they're not helping people, they have a bad attitude, you have a bad attitude too. Like, that's how you can look at this and say, like, I know where I stand by looking at the people around me. And this is not just in the business, but in life. Like, I know this maybe sounds bad, but there's a reason we don't live by our family. Like, because they're not good influences for us. And so distance was a good thing. There are certain people that I don't think I'm better than them, but I have limited connection with them and limited time that I spend with them because they don't have the mindset that I want to emulate myself. And so I want to be around people who inspire me, who are positive thinking, who are forward thinking, who are looking for solutions, who are not just there to complain. And I encourage you all to seek out the same thing because that's what you deserve. And that's what you need to get to where you deserve to be, okay? All right, and let me just look at my notes, make sure there's anything. The only other thing that I put down here is to remind you guys as well that you get what you demand. You get what you put out as your standards. So if you sit there and say, my standard is this, that's what you're gonna get. And so if you raise your standards and say, you know, this is like with dating, right? So if I went out on a date with a guy and on that first date, he was talking down to girls and he took me to this like, whatever, like strip club. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I don't set the standard that like, I don't want that, then I'm going to be okay with that. And that's when you marry the people that you date, right? That's what my mom always says to me. She's like, you're not going to marry someone you didn't date. So you need to have high standards in the people you date. And, but it's that same dating thing. Like if I didn't put up with that, then I wouldn't marry someone who was like that, right? If I said, I'm not going on a second date with you, then I'm going to get what my standards are. You guys are all going to get you what your standards are in life. So if you say, I'm okay being complacent, I'm okay being still, that's what you're going to get. If you say, I refuse this, you're going to get it. There's not a question of if, and, or but. Like you'll get what you demand as your standard. So you elevate your standards, you elevate your no matter what, and you're going to get it. I mean, ever notice you get an unsuspected bill and a medical bill or whatever, or a family needs help and they're asking you for money and you've been barely making ends meet, but somehow you find the way to help out that family member, or somehow you find a way to pay that bill. That's because you have the standard of, I pay my bills. So you can get extra bills and you're still going to find them. You're still going to find a way to pay those bills. That's elevating your standards and getting your standards, all right? So recap, let your curiosity get the best of you to drown out your fear. Approach life with I just want to see what I can get away with, okay? Tap into your female energy to refuel yourself, and that will allow you to be in a male energy in finding your refusal, like, I refuse this, you know? Be consistent for a year to get to the good in this business, and then hone in on your vision so that you can move to great. I'm going to skip that part for time. Protect your circle of influence. Protect the people that you allow into your close circle, and raise your standards, okay? Those are the main things I hope everyone takes away from this. I thank you and I honor you for being on this call. There could just be one thing that you pull from this, and I want you to focus on that one thing, because it's just like golf. And I don't golf, but I'm learning how. One little degree of difference in how you hold the club or whatever makes a huge difference in the trajectory of that ball. And it's the same thing in this business when you are consistent. You can't just apply something into your life for a week and then be like, didn't work for me. It's not true. So you know your heart has been touched by one thing I've said today. Apply it into your lives, and I promise you're going to see a difference. Thank you guys all for being on this call. I really admire you all. I'm excited to spend more time connecting with you guys, and I hope this has been of value. Have a good day, everybody.